Mambo ya privatization ya port ya Mombasa haitafanyika when we are in government. Niliwaambia kwanza ya kwamba nikifika ofisini, ile maneno ya kulete CFS Nairobi, ya kulete operations ya port ya Mombasa Nairobi, tutarudisha port operations to Mombasa, na tulifanya hivyo on my day one. Ile kitu mimi nataka niwahakikishie ni kwamba ile port sasa tunataka tuipanue vizuri na tuweke nafasi kubwa zaidi ya kuzalisha ajira na kuzalisha mali, kwa sababu ile port sasa iko na uwezo ya kuserve South Sudan, DRC, Rwanda pamoja na Burundi, hata pamoja na ndugu zetu wa Uganda hapa, na tunataka tuipanue kwa njia inayofaa. We are going to work with the private sector in that process, but the port will not be privatized. I want everybody to understand that. The port will not be privatized. We are going to work on a concession process that is going to make sure that we protect the interests of Kenya, we protect the interests of the port, but we work with the private sector to increase efficiency, to increase investment.
The president made that speech at least to provide a surety to the public that the government's intention in privatization or in the concession procedure of the Mombasa Port, it is having good motives, not ill motives towards it. But before we proceed, what is the meaning of these two terms, privatization and concession? Privatization, it is whereby the government-owned entities or properties are transferred to be owned by private sector or non-government company or non-government party. And concession is a procedure whereby a contractual agreement between the public authority and the concession holder. It is the act whereby a public entity or a public property, it is being given to another holder on terms and conditions of contract. It can be leasing. This can be retained by the government and it will not be held forever by the person or the company which has taken it on terms of contract. And so when the president came to defend his moves on improving the production of Mombasa Port by concession, he just meant that they don't have intention of privatizing it. And he made this speech specifically after he realized that people are against the privatization of public entities, including the Mombasa Port. And he just wanted to assure the people of the coast or the coastal region plus the opposition that he is going to move forward with creating job opportunities, increasing revenue, taxes and profits through concession of Mombasa Port, but not privatization. My good people, but in one way or another, this government keeps on confusing us, because on another place they say they will not privatize this port of Mombasa, but they knew very well during the arrangement of the 4 tour days by the president and his cabinet members in Nyanza region, they were on a mission to sign the Privatization Act, which will bring all these entities to privatization, including the port of Mombasa. They knew it very well, but they decided to deny it. This is because after denying that they will not privatize the port of Mombasa, it will be put under contractual terms and conditions. After the president had completed his tour in Nyanza, the last day they had a cabinet meeting whereby we witnessed the president signing the Privatization Act, which is now a law that will facilitate the quickest means of privatizing these public entities without involving the parliament. When we talk about the parliament here, we say the National Assembly and the Senate. This is because while in Nyanza, the cabinet meeting that was held, there was no issue of elaboration but signing of that act to become a working law. And one of the unique features of this Privatization Act was that it is seeking to allow the Treasury or the Treasury Cabinet Secretary to appoint the Privatization Authority or the Privatization Commissioners without the oversight of the Parliament from interfering with any of the procedures in the appointment of the Privatization Authority or Privatization Commissioners. Unlike the previous law, which was an act of privatization in 2005, that one of 2005, it gave the Parliament an authority to oversight this issue of appointment of these authorities or commissioners who will make sure that everything to do with privatization is very effective. And why do you think the law or this act that was signed has just excluded the Parliament in oversighting the appointment of the privatization authority? This is because we know that opposition MPs who are under opposition are strongly against privatization of the public commodities. And the law to deny the Parliament from oversighting, it means that only the President and the Treasury Cabinet are capable and are sufficient of making it a law and running it without the help of the Parliament. I don't know why they changed it, but the main reason here, it is to block the opposition from stopping this privatization process from occurring. Because right now we see the people of Mombasa or the coastal region are against Privatization Act because they feel like what belongs to them, it will be taken away, and the benefit will be to those who have taken the port as a private firm, and the individual shareholders in the government are the few people who will benefit, but not the resident of Mombasa, or be a public profit like to benefit all Kenyans as the way it have been as usual. And another thing, we also know that if the Treasury Cabinet Secretary with the President, these are the two individuals who can fix and run the issue of the privatization without the discussion, debating, or any other argument or disagreement from the Parliament. That one is from the National Assembly and the Senate. Then we see they will implement the objective of privatizing so many entities in Kenya without interference. And so the issue of stopping the opposition MPs from debating this issue of privatization or blocking it into functioning, then that one is the unique feature or characteristics of this Privatization Act that was signed by the President to give powers to the Treasury Cabinet and the President alone. These are the two individuals who are powerful in the functioning of this act. And eliminating the Parliament, they had a big reason. This one is to block the opposition from interfering with this procedure of privatization. My good people, and what is the response of the leader of opposition, Honorable Raila Odinga, on the issue of privatization? Before we go there, let us see the top entities that had been tabled out by the Treasury Cabinet, the entities that are on the plan to be privatized. We see the first one is a Kenya Pipeline Company, Kenya Ports Authority, that one which is in conflict right now, Kenya Meat Commission, we have Development Bank of Kenya, and Consolidated Bank. These are the top 5 that are under privatization, and they are almost to be privatized. We have also others. These include the sugar millers, which are yet to be leased and not to be privatized. These include the Chemelil, Sugar, South Nyanza, Nzoia, Miwani, and Muhoroni. These are the 5 which are yet to be leased but not to be privatized. And so the list of the entities that are yet to be privatized, the Kenya Ports Authority is amongst these entities that are yet to be privatized. Yet, you remember the speech of the president, he denied, saying that he is not going to privatize Mombasa Port. Is he playing tricks on Kenyans? And what is the response of the opposition on this issue of privatization of Mombasa Port?
Uhuru alikuwa anasema nataka kubinafsisha bandari, walipinga vikali, lakini zilikuwa sio kuuza bandari, ilikuwa nasema concession bandari. Concession sio kuuza bandari. Concession ni kufanya, unapeana kandarasi kwa mtu mwingine ili aweze kuendesha mipango mingine katika bandari ili huduma iwe kwa njia ya urahisi na haraka. Kwa mfano, bandari ya Dubai imebinafsishwa. Bandari ya Singapore imebinafsishwa. Bandari ya Antwerp kule Belgiji imebinafsishwa. Bandari ya Amsterdam imebinafsishwa. Sasa mimi nataka niwaambie hawa watu, nifundishe Bwana Ruto na watu yake ya kwamba angalieni ile kandarasi ya bandari ya Singapore. City ya Singapore ni moja ya washikadau katika hiyo bandari. Ukienda kule Amsterdam, City ya Amsterdam ni shikadau pale katika hiyo bandari. Hata kule Antwerp. Kwa hivyo tukiongea juu ya mambo ya concessioning ya bandari ya Mombasa, county government ya Mombasa mpaka iyo mshikadau pale. County government mpaka hiyo mshikadau pale, na ikiwa kimiko board of directors, Mombasa County must have representation in the.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have heard the stand of the opposition, led by the opposition leader, Honorable Raila Odinga. They strongly disagree with the issue of privatization of Mombasa Port because they feel that this privatization will not bring any profit to the residents of Mombasa or Mombasa as a county, but it is going to bring benefit to individual people in the government and that private company that will own Mombasa Port. And so for the coastal region residents to be assured, plus the opposition to be assured that this will be an advantageous or beneficial procedure that will benefit the public, then the government should come out and state how it is going to provide these equal shares between the government, the private sector, and the people of Mombasa. This is because they confuse themselves by the president denying that they are not going to privatize Mombasa Port. But on the other hand, we see the Treasury Cabinet just mentioned the Kenya Ports Authority as being one of the entities that is going to be privatized. My good people, now that the opinion of the opposition and the residents of Mombasa is just one, this is because they are not sure if they will benefit or not. On the other side, we see that the feature that was expressed in this Privatization Act is to allow the Treasury to appoint the Privatization Authority or members without the oversight of the Parliament. This is because maybe they wanted to block the opposition from interfering with this issue of privatization. Now we really understand that the issue of privatization is not a rumor anymore, it is just the fact. This was justified by the Treasury Cabinet. It is not a fight of opposition against development by the Kenya Kwanza government. No, this is because they denied it, but at the end of it all, the opposition have seen the strategical procedures of the government in grabbing the Mombasa port in another soft manner, not the way they are defending themselves. My good people, do you agree with the issue of the government privatizing Mombasa port just like they are supporting it? Or do you agree with the issue of the opposition and Mombasa residents against privatizing it? And do you see this privatization procedure benefiting the people of Mombasa alone, or it will benefit the public just the way it have been since before, or since the time that have been existing? My good people, according to how the opposition has a strong stand, I don't know how it will end, because the act has already been signed by the president. It is a law already, and this Kenya Ports Authority is also targeted to be privatized. How will this end? Send me ideas in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching my video.